What we talk about in today's video, let's play our old school favorite game, the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. It's where it all started, sponsored by FPSDuty.com. Now I want to get it straight. The current Allies versus Axis system in the present Call of Duty games is boring. And it started ever since Call of Duty Ghost was released. I know you all hate Ghost, I know you do, but for me, it was a good game. It wasn't that bad, but it wasn't the best. And Call of Duty Ghosts started the one only Axis name for all of the Axis teams, and it was named as the Federation. Instead of using different team names like the Mexican Elites or the Special Ops Mexicans or the Underwater Mexicans, instead of using those, they only used one for all of those teams. They only used one name for all of those teams, for all of those Axis teams within that game, and it sucks. It lacks the variety and character of the game. You don't feel immersed with the characters and the situation of the map. And comparing to Modern Warfare 2, you had the militia, the Spetsnaz, the OPFOR. It was interesting. It was interesting to play with different teams. It was interesting to have different enemies. It makes the map interesting to play on. It gets you in character of what faction you're playing. That's where you get the replayability value of the map. And I remember every time, in my experience, every time I play for the SEALs in Modern Warfare 2, I felt like I needed to push harder to win, because if you think about the SEALs, they're tough. They're well trained tier 1 operators, soldiers, and they want to get the job done. And thinking about you're just gonna get killed, but with some crazy dude with an AK, it's unacceptable. It's like when you play this map, I get to kill OPFORs, I get to kill the militia, or you can be a Brazilian militia in this map, and it had replayability. My point is, it gets you in character. It makes you feel like you're in a team. You're some kind of this kind of soldier, and you want to play the map repeatedly, because you want to be playing as that kind of soldier in that map. And I noticed in Modern Warfare 2019, you only got two factions: the Coalition and the Allegiance. It's boring, Why? Because if you notice, in different maps you have different uniforms. You've noticed that, and I think it's like when you're in the Middle Eastern map, you got the uniform of some kind of rebellious militia in Middle East. And when you got that map in like the warehouses, you had that Russian uniform, Spetsnaz uniform, and you got the SAS uniform. On the other side, it's interesting to have different teams. They kind of forgot that we want it to be always interesting. We want replayability, but seeing the same logos and hearing the same announcers every single match, it really feels like Infinite Warfare. You got the same factions in every map, and hearing the same announcers is just it gets stale really quickly. It's the same with World War II. Unlike World at War, in World War II you got the Allies and the Axis, but remembering what World at War did. It had the Russians, the Japanese, the Germans, the Americans. It was a variety of teams. It was interesting to play every different map because it had different teams in it. Infinite Warfare was it had a good campaign, but it only had two factions. It was kind of boring as well. But this Modern Warfare, the 2019 Modern Warfare, it had Russians. You could see in the trailer, you got the OPFOR, the Middle Eastern, I think they're rebels, and it's global. It should have different team leaders. They had different team leaders. They had different groups of clans with names in it. And I know they're fighting for the same reason, but they had different uniforms, different leaders within the team group. Kind of like the SEALs and the Marines and the Delta Force. They're fighting the same state and same reason, but they had different uniforms and they had different captains. And I think you know what I mean. Different uniforms and different teams, and it should have its own groups of names, its own announcers, and that is the reason you felt bored with Infinite Warfare, because every map you hear this same announcer over the same announcer every match, and the same uniforms and the same logos, and it's boring. It's really boring. You only got the difference between the two teams because it had the red uniform in it, and it's really boring. It's connected with the storytelling of the game, and unfortunately, I really feel like it's going to affect greatly to the campaign, because you're only fighting only one group of enemy, the Axis. And Call of Duty campaigns became boring since the Allies and Axis system. And you remember that in Ghost, it only got two factions, and it focuses only on one enemy, focuses only on one target, and they didn't really realize that everyone has its own rules and morality system in different cultures and teams. So it could happen differently within the story. Not everyone has the same goals and mindset. I think you remember the movie The Rock. It was the movie The Rock. Fun fact about Modern Warfare 2: it also had inspirations from the movie The Rock. The Gulag Mission. I forgot who the main actor was. In that movie, it had the SEALs and the Rangers, but the commanding officer of the Rangers in that movie had the idea of exploding a bomb over the city to make it look like it was an oppression from the terrorists. But the SEALs found out their plot, so they're going to stop the commanding officer of the Rangers, the general. But they got into a planned ambush. So this guy also looks like Captain Price. Kind of felt like Modern Warfare 2 got a lot of inspiration from this movie. But the point is, the two teams work within the US, but fighting against each other with different goals and mindsets. So that's why we need different teams, because different teams have different ways of acting towards their goals, and it makes it more realistic, or at least tries to be. So the kids started from Call of Duty Ghost or BO3. I'm sorry to say, but you've lost an era of greater COD games. And another theory that I've came up why they removed the original different team system is because of microtrans. It's not a bad thing. I don't know, but it's kind of bad. I know Modern Warfare 2019, it's gotta have microtransactions. I already found out earlier than you will. If you had the ability to customize your soldier's uniform,
It's going to be microtransactions, especially weapons. I doubt about the talks of their realistic camos. There's going to be goofy camos on the microtransactions. It takes away the realism. It's Activision's control, and it's the reason it took away having multiple teams, because they want to keep it simple and make the uniforms customizable, making it more simpler to change, or having multiple efforts of having different suits and uniforms. It costs more laborers with the developers. So to have different customizable uniforms, you had to add only two factions. Um, if it had four teams with different outfits, it would be much more harder to make for the developers to be more efficient of the size of the game. But nonetheless, the game looks amazing. The maps, the gameplay, and but by the looks of it, this will be one of the best CODs in years. The gameplay is really amazing. It's nostalgic. It's huge, and it's like a really first for Call of Duty to have a really huge arena to play on, huge map to play on. It's just amazing. I really just wish they'll have more than two factions in multiplayer. Love to hear your comments about our video today, and don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching.